Today's episode of Locked On Pelicans is different. I let AI write the entire thing. What to think about Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and the Pelicans' future. Let's find out, because honestly, I have no idea what's about to happen. It's a Wednesday episode of Locked On Pelicans. Let's go.
You are Locked On Pelicans, your daily New Orleans Pelicans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On Pelicans, the daily podcast covering your favorite team, the New Orleans Pelicans and NBA, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Available wherever you get your podcasts and available on YouTube. I'm your host, Pelicans Insider, credential member of the media, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter. Here with you on this Wednesday, and I let AI plan out this entire show. I have not really looked ahead. I only have a few little bit of the roadmap here of where it's going to take us. I will interject with some things that I've seen here, and we'll actually turn this into a useful episode of Locked On Pelicans. But this is definitely going to be an adventure, and I don't know where we're going to end up. And hopefully I don't get fired from Locked On Pelicans after this, but this sounded like a fun Wednesday show to try and do. So, of course, thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We are here Monday through Friday, the #1 Pelicans podcast, covering everything you want to know about this Pelicans team. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join over 11,000 Pelicans fans on YouTube as well and become an everydayer. That means you listen Monday through Friday to the Locked On Pelicans podcast. We are, of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you're an everydayer, let me know in the comments down below. Truthfully, let me know what you think about this show. This one's a little bit different. Hopefully it's a little bit funny because what I've seen looks kind of silly. And we'll get into it in just a second here. And of course, don't forget, you can watch Locked On Pelicans on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network every single weekday at 10:30 a.m. All right. Hello, I'm going to just literally read it. Hello and welcome to Locked On Pelicans. Today's episode is very, very special. It is written completely by artificial intelligence. Yes, a robot. So if it sounds weird, that's why. We will talk about Zion Williamson, the Pelicans' future. And also, by the way, it has a lot of weird Pelicans bird facts in here because the AI thought that was important as well. So segment one, it wants me to talk, or it wants to tell you about its analysis of Zion Williamson. So I'll read what it says here and I'll interject where needed. Zion Williamson is a basketball player. We're off to a great start here. Is a basketball player who plays basketball for the New Orleans Pelicans. Last season, Zion averaged 24.6 points per game. That means 24.6 points every game on average, which is more than 24 points, but less than 25 points. He also shot 57% from the field, which is very efficient. Efficiency means being good at making shots instead of missing them. All right, thank you, AI. I think people know what efficiency means, but sure, let's continue and see what it has to say here. Goes on to say, quote, Zion is like a bulldozer because he is strong. He is like a cheetah because he is fast. He is like Charles Barkley if Charles Barkley could jump higher. He is like a refrigerator, but one that can dribble. Dribbling refrigerator. This is where we are. We're not even 4 minutes into the show here. I would not have gone the comp of a dribbling refrigerator. I would have gone with something like the standard one, right? Like freight train when he gets going downhill. The AI is onto something there, right? Like it's an object that once you get going is very difficult to stop. And that's what Zion does. I told you we're going to thread in some important analysis here. Zion's at his best when he's not playing like a traditional big man. He's more playing like a guard or a wing type of player. He's a downhill attacking guy. I think his closest NBA comp, now that we're kind of looking at it, is someone like Julius Randle, who we're familiar with from his 1 year here in New Orleans. That downhill attacking style where you can be relentless like that, I think can be very, very effective. It does make Zion Williamson, as we kind of talked about in yesterday's show, a little bit difficult to build around because then you're lacking traditional size potentially because your power forward's playing on the perimeter, one of your bigs is playing on the perimeter. The AI had some a little bit there. I see where it was going with. Let's continue here with everything. Quote, Zion is both underrated and overrated at the same time. He is underrated because people forget how dominant he is when he plays. He is overrated because people expect him to play every game, which he does not do. The truth is in the middle, which is where truth usually lives. So that's oddly not wrong. We've gotten better after a couple of things from AI here. That's oddly not wrong, right? We talked about this in yesterday's show too. I talked about it last week when referring to the Pelicans fan surveys. I'm sure it's kind of probably picking up on some of that stuff. But, I've been calling it the Zion Williamson paradox, and I think that's probably one of the most accurate ways to try and describe this right now because, Zion is so talented that can you give up on him? Zion is the type of guy that will carry you if he's playing pretty far. When you look at the ceiling of this team, last week I talked about how Trey Murphy could be the face of the franchise from this team and really take a leap going forward. But if you kind of look at players who are going to for sure do it, or you feel comfortable leading the team, being the number one guy, when you look at this roster, it's Zion Williamson, right? That's what it is right now. And that's, again, kind of the problem the Pelicans find themselves in. Would it be easier to kind of choose a direction? They're on a couple of different approaches here. There's the two timelines approach of win now, develop the young guys, and those two kind of conflict, particularly without a first round pick next year. But they're also, and I said this in yesterday's show, on like a two Zion approach. Do you build around Zion and kind of go all in on his skill set, which requires a different roster than if you were to kind of build around somebody else? And that also creates the problem then too. Can you build around Zion when he doesn't play regularly? And it's this big conundrum. Paradox is the word that I've been using. That's where the Pelicans kind of find themselves stuck. Eventually they do need to choose a path, although neither path seems particularly optimal when it comes to some of it. So that's something to kind of keep in mind here with all of this, right? That's what's difficult about this. The eye kind of gets it, right? Quote, Zion is important because when he's on the court, the Pelicans offense is excellent. He bends defenses, which means defenses bend towards him, okay? When he's not on the court, the Pelicans offense is less excellent. This is why his availability is the most important factor for the Pelicans' future, end quote. Okay, that part's solid. We're going to give the AI credit here. Yes, that's, again, the problem, But it's tough to choose a direction. Kind of hit me as I was recording yesterday's show of, when we did the fan survey, about 50% basically said ownership is cheap. And that's likely due to them not paying the luxury tax and some other preconceived things about them. But would it be viewed this way? Zion Williamson not playing, why would you pay the luxury tax if there's a huge chance that blows up in your face and you lose a ton of money? When you could just get a $15 to $25 million check for not paying the luxury tax, and at least you kind of have something to show for a bad season, which is not what you would get if you were paying the luxury tax. So if you pay $5 million to the luxury tax and you don't get the $15 million check, that's a $20 million swing. That can go a long way for this franchise, right? That can refurbish a lot of stuff. That's rather important, particularly with them getting away from, the RSN that they've had in the past. So keep that in mind too, that is Zion holding them back from truly going all in a sense, when it comes to all of it here. So that's it for the Zion Williamson analysis that it has in there. Okay, so what's coming next are a bunch of fake trades, which is going to be kind of fun, and analysis of the Pelicans' future here. I do feel pretty good about my job security all of a sudden here. Don't feel like Locked On's going to want to get rid of me and replace me with AI here. It also has random Pelicans fact number 1. The Pelicans were almost named the Brass instead of the Pelicans. Brass sounds like a band, not a basketball team, end quote. I don't think they were actually almost named the Brass. I did a lot of reporting on this back, 10 plus years ago now. There were a couple other names they came close to choosing. I don't know if Brass was actually one of them, truthfully, but I would have loved Brass. That would have been probably one of my favorite names, with the logo being a trumpet or something like that. I think would have been really, really cool, and really would have enjoyed that as the team name. But I've come around on Pelicans and everything. So coming up next, the Pelicans outlook and trades according to AI. That's coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. Today's episode of Locked On Pelicans is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. It's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime-flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. It's perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. So whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push throughout your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse favorite you love without ever leaving the green. The transfusion drink's like favorite for people who play golf. I play pretty regularly. I do grab one of these in the morning. When I'm playing at like 6 in the morning, up real early, I don't have time to make coffee. I don't have time to stop and get coffee. I just need some energy to go play. Just grab a 5-hour energy go. Saves me a ton of time, allows me to sleep in a little bit more. And it just makes golf fun. I recently had my first eagle on the hole 9 of Audubon, par 5. Hold it in from like 45 yards out, like rolled it right into the cup, which was really cool. My whole group went nuts, even though that's like not that impressive because I'm terrible at golf. And that's what golf is all about. It's all about good times with good people and good flavors. And the grape ginger lime flavor of 5-hour energy transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the beverage cart. So now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5FIVEHEWin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament and ends on October 31st, 2025. And of course, thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We are here Monday through Friday, the #1 Pelicans podcast, covering everything you want to know about this Pelicans team. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcast and join over 11,000 Pelicans fans on YouTube as well and become an everyday. That means you listen Monday through Friday to the Locked On Pelicans podcast. And for your second listen today, go listen to Locked On Saints. We just had week 1. How did Spencer Rattler look? What was going on with the timeouts at the end of the first half there? What needs to be cleaned up? Tons of penalties. Ross Jackson's making all sorts of sense about everything black and gold in the New Orleans Saints over at the Locked On Saints podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So I let AI plan out the show. Wrote a bunch of it. It's like, Jake, you should say this here. It's like kind of like a near full script and everything. It's pretty interesting here. So we're just going to keep rolling with it. Tomorrow in the show, we'll get back to me planning out the shows we're going to look at the Locked On Top 100, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Jordan Poole. Does DeJounte Murray rank in there? All of that. We'll start breaking that more down the rest of the week, but I thought this was a fun midweek show to do and something very, very different here. Also, not worried about Locked On getting rid of me after this. All right, the Pelicans outlook and trades here. Quote, the Pelicans are sometimes good and sometimes not. This is normal for NBA teams. They need more shooting. Shooting means making more 3-point baskets, which are worth 3 points instead of 2. More points is better. Shooting helps Zion because shooting creates space. Space lets Zion drive, and Zion driving is a good thing. End quote. Okay, so it took a second, but we got there. We do know what shooting is, but the AI is right that they definitely need more of it. That I think is, there's 2 areas that I think this team you look at and you're like, I don't feel great. One of them is the lack of shooting. Trey's the shooter on this team. Jordan Poole can be too. He shot from 3 better than CJ McCollum last year, but career-wise, CJ is better than Jordan Poole. But Jordan Poole can kind of do it off the bounce, which I think is an important thing. He's a really good, or at least last year was a flamethrower off the bounce. They need that type of guy that can just kind of create instant offense. That also can be insurance for if Zion Williamson gets hurt. So if Zion goes down, can you do something? Can your offense stay afloat? Jordan Poole is actually the type of guy that can maybe do that for you. He can also play much more downhill than CJ McCollum can, and I think that can be a really important thing too. Though if you looked at some of CJ's biggest scoring games last year, it was him driving and attacking, but Jordan Poole is on a much better level than him. I think Poole is a better player than CJ McCollum is. All right, more from AI here. Jose Alvarado is sneaky. He hides and steals the ball. This is called the Grand Theft Alvarado. He's sneaky like a raccoon or a ninja. Okay. Defense is also important. Herb Jones plays elite defense. Dyson Daniels is a defender in progress. Jose Alvarado is sneaky like a raccoon. Okay, the raccoon again thing and a player that's no longer on the team. They'd also mentioned Brandon Ingram in the open of the show, by the way. All right. Oh, here we go. More on Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram matters too. When he and Zion are both playing at a high level, the Pelicans are like one of the best teams in the West. The problem is they don't always overlap. That's why fans sometimes feel stuck. Too much talent to move on from, but not enough health to trust. So, great point, right? We talked about this with Zion ranking 47th out of 100 in the Locked On Top 100 players. Listen to that show yesterday if you haven't. There is a good ceiling here. There's a lot of talent here, and it kind of speaks to the Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson era of it just never worked out. And so sometimes you've got to make some changes. I think that's one of the reasons why they also traded for Jordan Poole, because you know what? He played a bunch last year, past couple years actually. And that really does go a long way. Mike Detillier says this a lot. The best ability is availability. And that's the one thing the Pelicans have very much been lacking over the past couple of years. Like everybody was injured last year. I think when you look at this team, everybody basically missed significant periods of time. Yves Missi was the one constant. That's the thing, right? I just mentioned the shooting, needing that, but you could potentially upgrade the center position. He played, but at like a fine enough level, showed promise, but looked more like a rotation guy than like surefire starter, which, you know what? He's a rookie that was thrown into a real bad situation and honestly succeeded. So maybe I should be giving him a little bit more credit saying it out loud like that sort of thing. But you get the point that I'm trying to make here, right? Like this is why the Pelicans feel stuck. It's the injuries. It's the injuries. It's the injuries. It's not the talent. It's not the roster that they've put together. It's not even head coach Willie Green. It's the injuries. The injuries have done head coach Willie Green no favors. He's also done himself no favors. Don't get me wrong. But it's the injuries that have held them back more so than like literally anything else. And, they've just got to be healthy. Otherwise you can't do that. So trades that could help the Pelicans make the playoffs according to AI. So we're just going to run down all of these here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 trades. First one, trade Yves Missi for Nikola Jokic. This would make the Pelicans better because Jokic is the best player in the NBA. Okay. Trade Jordan Poole for Steph Curry. Curry is good at shooting. Also a fact. Trade for Buddy Hield because Buddy Hield is good at three-point shooting and once played in New Orleans. I'm going to get back to that one. Trade for Miles Turner because Miles Turner plays defense and shoots threes, doing two things at once. Doing two things at once is valuable. They can't trade for Miles Turner right now, having just signed that contract, by the way, with the Milwaukee Bucks. Trade for Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton can pass and defend. I don't think he can defend, which helps Zion find open shots and gives Jordan Poole help on defense. Okay. Trade for Jaden Ivey. Ivey is young, athletic, and can create his own shot, which gives the Pelicans more scoring options when Zion rests. Sure. Trade for a backup center like Isaiah Stewart because depth in the front court is important if Missi gets hurt. Okay, so the first two are obviously like never happening. Jokic and Curry aren't coming to New Orleans. Like, okay, cool. AI knows what players are good. Check. Good job. Buddy Hield. So that one, if you go back like a couple of weeks, we graded some fake trades. That one on paper makes sense, but stops making sense when you look at the salary cap situation for New Orleans, depending on what the move would be. If you're giving up Hawkins for Buddy Hield, you're adding about $5 million to the salary cap, maybe a little bit more than that, I forget. And then you're going to need to use a pick to adjust your roster even further. And is Hield that much of an upgrade over Jordan Hawkins? He's an upgrade, don't get me wrong. But is he the type of player that would be playing significantly, look at the roles here. Yeah, you get a better shooter, but if Hawkins is only playing 15 minutes per game and Hield's going to play 15 minutes per game, that is not nearly as impactful as you'd like that sort of move to be. You've got to keep the salary cap in there. Miles Turner, that would be possible, or would have been a great move years ago, but he was never going to get moved from Indiana, and then he decided to leave because they basically got cheap with everything and is a Bucks player now, so that works. Halliburton wouldn't make any sense, but also trading for a guy who's going to miss the whole season would be the most New Orleans thing ever, and it would cost a ton. It's not going to happen. Jaden Ivey is interesting. He's, young talent coming off injury. I don't think he was particularly turning the corner. I've asked Kuka Hill, our Locked On Pistons host, about him. Not thrilled about Jaden Ivey personally. He doesn't think he was that good. If the host doesn't think that, then that kind of says something here. Isaiah Stewart, that's realistic depth. At least the AI was starting to make a little bit of sense at the end here. Quote, in conclusion, the Pelicans' future is like a flickering light bulb. Sometimes it is bright, sometimes it is dark. That uncertainty is what makes basketball exciting. It's kind of deep, and I totally get that. The uncertainty, by the way, is something that repeatedly showed up in the Locked On Pelicans fan survey of people who are like, I don't know what's going to happen, and it kind of makes it fun to watch. There is something with that. Random Pelicans fact number 2. The Pelicans mascot, Pierre the Pelican, was redesigned in 2014 because the first version scared children. Yeah, it did. Was kind of horrifying, and they definitely redid it and had a lot of fun with that. Coming up next, the AI wrote, like this might be the most ridiculous part. Just me about what I'm about to say here. The AI wrote a fake mailbag. A fake mailbag. That's what it did here. I'll read you the questions and the answers that it gave its own. It's just a ridiculous thing. That's coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. What am I doing? And thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We are here Monday through Friday, the #1 Pelicans podcast, covering everything you want to know about this Pelicans team. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join over 11,000 Pelicans fans on YouTube as well. Your second listen should be Locked On Sports Today. They're covering the Locked On NBA Top 100. We all voted on the top 100 players for this upcoming season. Zion's 47. We'll get back to where the Pelicans players rank in this in tomorrow's show and probably the rest of the week here. But go give that a listen so you can kind of see the whole list and the rundown of what we got for you. AI wrote a mailbag. These are AI-generated questions that are not real and honestly don't sound real. I was going to say maybe it's good. It's not. All right, question 1. Can the Pelicans win if Zion plays? And the AI's answer is yes. If Zion plays, the Pelicans can win because Zion Williamson scores points. Points are how you win basketball games. I think I found the worst AI in the world. Not exactly groundbreaking news there, but also it's not incorrect. The Pelicans do win when he plays. Question 2. Can Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson play together? Answer, yes. 2 good players are better than 1 good player unless they are not working together, in which case they are worse. Let's rephrase this one because look, Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson didn't work. Can Jordan Poole and Zion Williamson play together? Yes, but Poole, when he's on the court with Zion, is going to need to work a little bit more off ball, which is not exactly what he was with the Washington Wizards. But what's interesting about that is he was never like the featured guy for the Wizards, which gives me a lot of hope for him and Zion Williamson to play together. He definitely needs to be a little bit more off ball, like work for spot up shots, those type of things. So they can, and it'll take a slight adjustment from Poole, but there's a lot of potential there, I think, when it comes to it. Question 3, is CJ McCollum still good? If you're just listening on YouTube, I rolled my eyes pretty hard there. Answer, yes, CJ McCollum is still good. He can dribble, shoot, and lead. He's also the president of the Players Association, which shows leadership skills. Sure, but Jordan Poole is an upgrade there, and his defense was also definitely an issue with everything. Here we go. Question 4. What is the Smoothie King Center like? Answer. The Smoothie King Center is shaped like a dome. It has seats for fans. Fans cheer. Sometimes it's loud. Sometimes it is not. I don't know. Look, I like the Smoothie King Center. We talked about this last week when we were talking about the arena. The arena is important, at least to me, right? You can have a different opinion on this. It's totally fine. For more about the lease and making sure the team stays here than less so the fan experience in my mind. But I'd also just go watch this team in the NBA play wherever they are, and unfortunately probably pay for the beer prices and stuff like that as well. I've seen the tickets, so I sit in the stands. I pay for everything too. So keep that in mind with it all. I do get the idea of having. I get the idea of like the civic pride of having a fancy, bright, beautiful new arena that is something that is a point of pride for the city that you can point to, that you feel like it's not yours, you don't own it, but there's a sense of ownership with it. Same feeling about the dome being loud. And when you're in there, like, that's us, that's ours, this is special to our city, and somewhat of a defining feature of that. And I do think that matters too. That would generate a lot of interest in the team, a lot of pride in the team too. And so a new arena and just everything that kind of goes with that would, go for a really long way with everything here. That's it for the mailbag, apparently. Random Pelicans fact number 3, the Smoothie King Center used to be called the New Orleans Arena until 2014 when smoothies were added. I'm assuming there were smoothies in there before, but I'm actually unsure about that. And someone will have to tell me in the comments down below if they didn't sell smoothies in there before. I would assume they would. I don't see why not. It seems like a normal thing. But sure. All right. So that's Locked On Pelicans, written by AI. I feel, again, very good about my job security here. Was it insightful? Maybe. Was it confusing? Probably. But also, that's kind of like, I got it. All right. It was insightful. It was confusing, which is just kind of like the Pelicans themselves, right? Like, there you go. That's kind of like the Pelicans themselves. Good ceiling seemed like a good idea. Did it work out? Probably not. Let me know what you think about this episode in the comments down below. Funny, not funny. Something a little bit different in the off season here, but I kind of enjoyed doing all this. I laughed a lot, so that's really good. So I appreciate y'all so much for listening. Remember, the Pelicans' future is like a flickering light bulb, sometimes bright, sometimes dark, but always interesting. I'm going to be back tomorrow with a normal episode where we're going to continue to break down the top 100 and where the Pelicans players fall in our Locked On Top NBA 100 players for the upcoming season. One more random Pelicans fact for you that the AI wants me to tell you. The New Orleans Pelicans are the only NBA team named after a state bird. That one is true, and maybe the most useful fact that the AI gave us today. So I appreciate y'all for listening. Please don't unsubscribe after listening to this episode. Kind of fun. We won't do one like this for a while here. We're going to get back to everything. Training camp's around the corner, by the way, so we've really got a lot of coverage coming. It's going to be a really interesting season. Maybe bright, maybe dark, but always interesting. I might keep that as a theme this whole year here. I kind of like that line here. So maybe we learned something from this episode. So I appreciate y'all listening. As always, I'm your host, Jake Madison, at NolaJake on Twitter. This is the Locked On Pelicans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'll be back with y'all tomorrow with a normal episode.